All right, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Firma Henry, as usual, and I think this is episode number 5. I'm really excited to be here with you guys today, and thank you for listening if you have been listening since day one. And today, I just wanted to take on a solo type of, discussion with myself. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot, and it's about this whole idea and notion of having a day job and your side hustle. Now, I've always seen myself as an entrepreneur. I left high school just to go into design freelancing, and that is how my career basically started. But now after it's been a lot of years and stuff, I'm starting to sort of have a different picture around the whole notion of having a day job and a side hustle, and it's something that has been really shifting the gears in my head lately, and I wanted to just come out and speak about it and maybe get some insights from what you guys think as well. But this is totally not facts. It's just my own opinions as Farima Henry. I mean, whoever am I under the surface of the sun, right? So cool. First of all, I think the idea is all wrong to start off with. I think you should do one thing or the other, really. There is tremendous conflict with yourself, your job, and whatever your side hustle is, because usually you do the things that you do well, right? And if you have a good job, well, let me not say a good job, but something within the same field of whatever your skill is, then you are probably going to have a lot of conflict with how you deal with, if you're doing design work at work and you're doing design work for your own clients. How do you balance the two, and how do you work it out without having conflict of interest? As many employees would sign you up. You cannot really work for other people while you're working for them if you're working for them full time. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, really, to try and get to do about it. But I'm not against the idea of having a side hustle, guys. Don't get this wrong. I really think that people should start their own thing, and hopefully a lot of entrepreneurs emerge from people running their side hustles. I'm really a big believer of that. But this is just some of the reasons why I think it's a bad idea. I think you should do one thing or the other. It's also just not worth the sleep, guys. I mean, it's a tremendous effort trying to have a day job and run your side hustle, especially if you have a family like myself. You also have a family life that you need to go back to, so usually your weekends are filled up, your nights are filled up. You have to be with your family and spend that time together. So yeah, it's a very tricky situation around how you manage your time. And over 3-4 years of doing the same thing, you start realizing that you're fighting a losing battle, and it's just not worth the sanity of you doing this. And I understand entrepreneurship is like a trending thing and a buzzing thing right now, but if you are an entrepreneur, you would have started by being an entrepreneur first and not getting a job, and then try and get out of the job market to do your side hustle full time. I'm not saying it's not possible. I've seen many people over and over times doing this, and it has been really successful for most of the people that I've seen doing this, but it's also been a very long never-ending battle for a lot of people who try and do it as well. I've seen people trying to run their side hustle, and also people just think so small. I mean, if you're working for your boss and you're making 8-10 million for him or her a year, and you only really thinking small about, like, getting the low hanging fruit type clients, and not really stepping up into that game and hitting the higher, really high quality clients, then you're it's just the dynamics that I usually see happening around me, and these are the things that I'm just splurging out right now. It's a little bit of a rant, I understand, but I just wanted to talk about this, and why I think it's not the best idea to try and run your day job and your side hustle parallel to each other and try and make them work. I think it's something that will frustrate a lot of people, and mainly because of reasons, number one, conflict between your employer and yourself. Usually we're using the same skill set for our side hustle as we use at work. It's not worth the sleep, guys. If you were an entrepreneur, you would have bigger things happening and a better plan than just having a small side hustle on the side. I know sometimes it's a means to an end, trying to put ends together and just keep the money flowing. We need that extra money sometimes, but if you're going to do it for extra money, just look at it like, this is my extra money type of hobby thing that I do that brings me an extra budget every month to do those extra things that I want to do. But if you're really going to put all your energy into it, you might as well just do it full time. And there is huge opportunities for you to turn your side hustle into a full hustle, and make it a very lucrative gig if you understand what your market is and you have the right skills. And usually by saying the right skills, I don't mean the production skills that people have. Designers think they can run successful design companies just because they design beautiful things. And I keep on referencing designers because this show is directed mainly to the aspiring UX designer. But this context almost applies in every field, and I think it's just important to understand that if you were an entrepreneur, a really true entrepreneur, I don't mean to be sounding cocky here, you would have started somewhere else and not be in the situation that you are currently in now. Having said that, this is the way that I think people should really manage their skills, their careers, and their personal identity, because I think that's what people are really trying to differentiate and do. So a lot of people that I see are in the pursuit of having something of their own, they're really trying to take out a personal identity, something that they call their own, something that they brand themselves with. And as most young entrepreneurs and seasoned entrepreneurs alike would have noticed, is that your personal brand is actually something that needs to be distant to the actual product that you're working on. If we take Apple for instance, some people might believe that Apple without Steve Jobs is not really Apple, and that debate can go on and on and on. But I think there are three things playing here. I think there is a personal brand. That's your personal identity, who you identify yourself as you are. I think there's your career, and I think your career is not about who you work for, where you work, and that kind of thing. It's just helping clients, which is basically your employees and their clients, over the time of your long extended career. And it's really about reputation, and that's what I think career is about, well, at least to me. And talking about reputation, I have burned a lot of bridges in my life, and I'm still going to burn quite a little bit more, because I'm going through quite a huge shift in my career right now, and I am literally refusing to do a certain type of work that I think is mainly production work and not strategic thinking work that usually puts me in projects that I don't want to be. But anyway, that is a topic for another day. But yeah, your career is your reputation, so be mindful of who you're building your reputations with and who they're talking to. In the South African market, it's a very small market, guys. If you're a UX designer in the South African context, it's a very small market, and your reputation plays a huge role, and you need to really, maintain it well and make sure that you keep it like a well-oiled machine, and keep it running all the time. So basically that's how I see what your career is. And the third thing is basically what your skill set is at that time. I say at that time because I think skill sets change over time, and it's really a matter of fact of how do you transition and transform, evolve yourself to be the person that you want to be. So if you are in the UX designer role right now and you are from South Africa, and I hope this is the crowd that I'm talking to, I would guess that you have sort of like a background of whether graphic design or web design or some marketing type of career behind your UX design career, or all of those combined. Really, I come from both a graphic design and web design background. I started calling myself a UX designer just to glorify my role, but it became a little bit real very quickly. Within a year or so, I started really understanding what UX design is and moved on my career into getting into a product designer. And right now I looked at myself as a product designer and a digital strategist, because the work that I do is really strategic, and it's the thinking part of the project that a lot of designers do not facilitate and sit in those conversations, especially in the huge corporates. They don't sit in those conversations and drive the conversation from the get-go. UX is usually seen as something that happens in the beginning, or right at the end before you get out of the door. Put on lipstick on this man, make it look cool, that kind of vibe. It's an insult, guys, to a lot of people who are trying to take this UX design thing seriously. So sit in those meetings, guys, and your skill changes over time. So don't sort of like worry about it too much, just because of the pure fact that the internet keeps on expanding. We keep on exchanging skills almost on an everyday basis, and technology keeps on changing. The capabilities of what we're able to do as creatives and human beings keeps on changing every day. So your skills as a UX designer or a product designer or whatever you call yourself will change over time. So focus on learning every day, staying in the motion, going up the ladder. And when I say up the ladder, I don't mean the corporate ladder, guys. I mean keeping up to your game and really just upskilling yourself. Identify the core needs that you need within that phase of your career and apply them to your personal brand, which is basically who you are and how you want people to see you. So that is my perspective of how side hustles might seem like. So a lot of people might think I have a side hustle because I've got my vermahenry.com website, and I do work for a company, and I've been working for a couple of companies over time, helping them build very meaningful products, both for clients, external clients, and internal products. And I do not have the vermahenry.com brand as as a side hustle. Of course I talk about design sprints. This is something that I strongly believe in, and I feel that I have the obligation to push this movement in South Africa, but really it's about that pure sort of like identification, putting yourself in front of people and positioning yourself that, guys, here I am, I'm a product designer, I'm a dad, this is what I do, blah 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 blah. Whatever your personal brand is, you can always bring all sorts of personal flavor, tweak how serious and not serious you want to be, how much you want to swear and not, that all that kind of stuff, like you really mold how you want the world to see you. And that is separate from what your career is, which is basically the trust and the reputation you have in the market and the brands that you work with, whether you work as a freelancer or you're providing your services to these people, or you're working as part of an internal team. And then your skills is also something that's different, what you're doing at that point in time. Of course, there are core skills that will guide you throughout your career. So if you're a UX designer or a product designer in our context in this conversation right now, there will be core skills that will be there. And I think communication and sales are just basic human skills that everybody should have. You need to be able to communicate well and sell yourself and your skills before your product, really. And yeah, I think that way you can have a better balance around separating your individuality and how you present yourself in the world, and separate from what you do as a day job, whether you work in a pet store or you work as an Uber driver. I think there's always a crucial part of separating your personal brand from your career and your skills. So that's what I think about having a day job and versus your side hustle, how I've started thinking about it and applying it in my world. So I don't really have a side hustle anymore. I just have myself, which is my personal brand, Farima Henry. That's me. That's what I want the world to know me as. And who I'm working for or with at that time is really, the partners that are helping me out build out my career, and I am helping out with my skills, to build, to make the world a better place. That's what I think I do on an everyday basis on the projects that I work with and the people that I work with. I think design is really there not just to make pretty pictures or to make processes better, but to make a better world for human beings. Guys, I'm running out of time. I really like to keep on talking about this topic on and on and on, but I really like to find out, what do you guys think about your day job versus your side hustle? I understand you can turn your day job into your side hustle, the other way around. Your side hustle into your full-time hustle and leave your day job. That is what a lot of people are trying to do. We're living in a world where entrepreneurship is so what can I say, glorified, and everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. And I think there's certain different levels of entrepreneurship you can play, whether you are on whatever level your career is in, really, and whatever environment you're working in, whether you are in corporate and you're hired, or you're outside of corporate and you're starting up your own thing. I think there's always a level of entrepreneurial skills that apply in both those worlds, and that can benefit both the people that you are giving service to and yourself in growth and lucrative ways as well. So I just want to find out from you guys, what do you guys think about this topic? I'm very interested on hearing your comments. You can look up for me on any social, let me not say any social media, mainly on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. You can interact with me there. Just look up Farima Henry. That's Varima Henry. That's one word. Well, it's two names, first name and last name, obviously. But just look up Verima Henry as one whole thing, and you can just tag hashtag design sprint essay as well. That's my official hashtag, and you can interact with me on any social media platform using that hashtag. I always look it up and try to respond on what's happening there. So tell me what you think about your day job versus your side hustle. Is it feasible? Is it working for you? How long have you been doing it? I'm really interested to know. And how do you handle the two? How have you been successful at handling these things? And what is your side hustle? I mean, I'm always interested in finding out what people are doing out there. So, guys, I really want to know, what is your side hustle? How are you doing it? What do you think about the concept of separating, your day job and your side hustle story into these three things, which is basically your personal identity, the skill set that you have, which changes over time, and your career, which is your reputation that is tied within the people that you work with. Thank you for joining me on this session. Until we meet again next week, I'm out.